The topic of snitching is very much on the tongues of many rappers in the world today, and all of it is for one simple reason: 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine is ratting everyone out, but we now finally have the reason why he is doing it from 6ix9ine himself. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
So I can take care of my kids, blood. Like, I made a lot of mistakes. Like I'm not going to prison forever.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video.
He doesn't think he's actually snitching.
Tied to the same gang as Tekashi, but transcripts obtained by Complex show that the rainbow-haired rapper never actually said that.
I know this may sound rather ludicrous in regards to what is going on right now in the courts, but hear me out. These aren't my words. It's actually his and some people associated with him. You see, during a court appearance in September, 6ix9ine was put on the stand and told to testify about the group known as the 9 Trays, a group he himself has confirmed he was not only a part of, but was the bank for.
Now I can talk when I walk, you heard?
You ain't got to talk no more. He do the talking for you.
He do the talking for me.
Jigsaw, holla at him.
He was detained in November of 2018 along with other group members in regards to several charges, and then in February, he signed a plea deal to testify against him and the rest of the group. That right there would be the very definition of snitching, and yet, in his mind, that's apparently not the case. One source said this after the recent rounds of testimony. It's not like he ratted out on his homeboys he knew since he was 3 years old. A source close to the legal team told the New York Daily News. He barely knew them. And as if that wasn't enough, during one of his testimonies recently, he was asked about dry snitching. He replied, "Dry snitching is like snitching without snitching. You're telling people what happened, but you're not putting your name on it." Who knew snitching was so complicated, huh? Well, that's the thing. You need to ask yourself, what is the pure definition of snitching? Most people think of snitching as telling someone a hidden truth in order to get them in trouble, which 6ix9ine is technically doing. However, when a person's life is on the line, which 6ix9ine's technically is, some think coming clean isn't snitching at all. So here we are once again, what is snitching? And is 6ix9ine doing it? Pretty much all of the rap community is saying that he is. Mainly because he's calling out not just former group members, but major rappers in the community for their various crimes.
That Jim was affiliated, and also brought up Cardi B. I think there was other names in there too.
And also he can benefit in their eyes. He's not just violating the law of no snitches, but the question of what price? Loyalty? He's not following the laws of the streets in many people's eyes. Even fans are mad at what 6ix9ine is doing on the stand. So if in his mind he's not snitching, that begs the question, what does he think he's doing? How to save your own skin.
Looking up to me, blood. I got a daughter. I got music that's still hot. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do.
We'll detail the arrest record of 6ix9ine a little later, including the November 28 arrest, but what you really need to know right now is that 6ix9ine got detained by the FBI last year. It was fully planned, it was a legit case, and 6ix9ine wasn't just facing jail time, he was facing decades of jail time. In fact, he had the potential not once, but twice to be booked for life in prison, which is something you don't get out of. Just as bad though, at minimum, if convicted of the various charges put against him, which more than likely he was going to get convicted of, he would have faced at least 47 years in jail. Let me repeat that for you, 47 years at least. So knowing all of that, when he was presented with a plea deal in January and February of this year, how do you think he felt about it? Do you think he said, "Man, I shouldn't do this because I'm going to snitch on my homies"? Or do you think he said, "I've got to do this if I have any chance of getting out of here"? Here's a hint, he likely thought the latter. When it comes to 6ix9ine, he's admitted multiple times that he believes in the image of being a rapper, meaning you have to look and sound a certain way to be a true hardcore rapper. But the problem with believing in an image is that the image may not exactly be who you are, which 6ix9ine found out the very, very hard way. Now sure, the first week or so he probably felt he could hold out, prove his street cred and all that, but when the wall started closing in on him and he could tell that he really didn't have any allies in prison, he likely went into panic mode and he probably couldn't get that plea deal signed fast enough. But was that wrong of him to do so? Was it wrong of him to try and prioritize his own life above the lives of others? That would depend on what you choose to believe. The rap community certainly feels that he is a rat and should be punished in certain ways for betraying their code, but rarely is there anything that simple. The other thing you need to remember is that for 6ix9ine, he's not that old. He's only 23 years old, still in the prime of his life. He probably thought about what it would be like to be in jail for 47 years, come out at the age of 70, and not knowing what the world was on the outside. That kind of thinking can put the fear of God into a lot of people, and it clearly did for him. Granted, his plea deal does not guarantee that he'll be getting out of jail soon, or even this year, but it is heavily inferred, especially after the latest string of testimonies where he put the screws to the 9 Trays and many others. So if he does get leniency or a much shorter stint in jail, it would have been worth the risk and the hate, repentance and acceptance.
If you a rat, bro. If you're a rat, R-A-T, a correct.
Another thing that came to light in regards to the recent testimony given by 6ix9ine is that he knows exactly how people view him in terms of him being a rapper and a person. He's done a lot of terrible things and he admits that. During the court testimony, he admitted that a recent attempted capture that happened to him was actually fake so that he would promote his new song Fifi, which indeed was a hit in part because of the buzz that was surrounding him at the time. So maybe, just maybe, he feels that by doing this plea deal and snitching that he can atone for the crimes that he has done over the years. And trust me, there have been a ton of crimes that he has both done and got away with. 6ix9ine versus the law.
That's right, people. 6ix9ine is snitching on his gang and he's going into witness protection. This guy.
6ix9ine was born Daniel Hernandez, and from a young age it was clear he was actually destined to be divisive. And I don't say that looking at his current legal situation, but rather he felt that he was the king of New York when he was young, long before he ever truly became a rapper. Usually that kind of arrogance can be a benefit as you can use it to drive you and try and back up what you say. But with 6ix9ine, it was more of a moniker that he alone believed, which obviously made him a target in the rap community from those who knew he wasn't nothing compared to them. And as noted, he's had a lot of arrests, and each of them showed just what kind of guy he was. But if we were to look at his first major arrest, we actually have to go to the time before he was truly 6ix9ine and was actually on his way to building up his name before becoming said controversial rapper. In fact, it's not a stretch to say that Tekashi's whole career has honestly been modeled after the mantra of my image above all else. The colored hair, which is dried out in jail, the teeth, the face tattoos, everything is about being the rapper image. And it was this mentality of being like a rapper that was the start of his problems. From all the way back in 2015, he got arrested for using underage girls in an explicit video. Confused? 6ix9ine was hanging out with some friends and felt that if he wanted to be a rapper, he needed to be seen in the rapper light, for example, doing something kind of controversial. So he invited some girls over to do a suggestive video with him and his pals. The problem wasn't that the video was explicit, it was the underage girls part. People take the age limit very seriously. Now, as 6ix9ine brought up many times over the next several sessions with police, judges, and more, he didn't touch the girls in the video, which is true. He also noted that he didn't know that the girls were underage. He himself was 18 at the time, and he thought the girls were older because of how they talked and the questions they asked. And never once, according to him at least, did they ever say that they were underage. So technically speaking, what they did was in their own volition, and the video would go on to technically prove this. After all was said and done, 6ix9ine got off on the charge for the most part. I mean that the plea deal he got came with a lot of stipulations, including getting his GED, apologizing to the parents of the girls in the video, and more. Sure enough, he did apologize to the parents, but when it came to getting his GED, he filed multiple instances to have the deadline for the GED acquiring to be delayed. And at the time of this video, he still hasn't gotten it, which technically should have gotten him in jail. And a court battle was going on to try and bust him for not following the stipulations of his plea deal. And yet, he didn't get busted. Not for that anyway. That was the first step. The first step that had 6ix9ine on a long and hard road that ended up in the witness chair in court. You almost have to wonder if he's been thinking about these past arrests and wondering if he was able to get back into the world whether he could do better this go around. One could hope, because the escalation of these arrests only grew over time. The big offense.
Involvement with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods gang, including racketeering, conspiracy, firearms offenses, and narcotics trafficking.
So by his next arrest, 6ix9ine had tried and failed to live up to the terms of his plea deal in the previous arrest, but 6ix9ine didn't end his crime spree there. He let his ego and anger get the best of him in an incident in Houston, Texas. And what he did there was literally incontrovertible, or at least that's what it should have been. A 16-year-old fan was trying to get a video of 6ix9ine as he saw him going through an airport, which for the record is completely legal as it was his own camera being used in a public space. However, when 6ix9ine saw this, he grabbed the kid by the collar and then used his bodyguards to get the kid to erase the video. In other words, it was not a good day for anyone. I'm sure on the surface, this seems like various other celebrity incidents that have happened over the years, but in honest truth, Tekashi went far beyond what should have been done here. Instead of just asking the kid to erase the tape or even gotten one of the bodyguards to block the camera so that the film couldn't be made, 6ix9ine and his crew went after this kid and actually threatened him in order to get the video erased. Unfortunately for him, there were others at the scene recording their own videos, and that was what got him in big trouble, as these videos were given to police and an outstanding warrant was put out for him. Ironically enough, the warrant wasn't served until a police officer pulled him over for reckless driving and found out that he was actually driving without a license, adding that to a long list of things 6ix9ine had done. At this point, you'd think that 6ix9ine would be put away. He had a warrant for his arrest and more, but in a bizarre twist of fate, the kid actually came into court before the judge and begged them not to prosecute 6ix9ine for what he had done. This led to many thinking that something shady had gone on behind the scenes, which seemed to be proven when a picture of 6ix9ine and the kid was put on social media. Regardless, he got off again, and instead of learning his lesson, he continued to do more crimes, which again may just be what is fueling 6ix9ine right now. He understands, finally, that things were going badly for him before, and he just couldn't or wouldn't see the damage he was doing, both to himself and to others. And he knew that the work with the 9 Treys was not good stuff, So by doing this testifying, things may indeed be turning a way that can have him doing good. To be honest though, you have to wonder if that is even possible, because at times, he has just done some very stupid things, like harming a police officer. As noted earlier, the Houston arrest was done because of 6ix9ine driving without a license, which he had lost because of his arrest. But did that stop him from driving his expensive cars? Nope. He continued to drive them, and that led to even more misdemeanor arrests and charges, because he decided that driving was more important than being in jail potentially by getting caught. Again, proving that 6ix9ine is clearly not capable of rational thought, or at the very least decides all avenues to try and have such thoughts. By far though, one of the oddest and weirdest arrests came after one of his misdemeanors. He went out and scuffed with a police officer who was basically trying to apprehend him. Though the details aren't exactly clear, 6ix9ine apparently got up in the officer's face, then wouldn't let go of his hands, and other things happened as well that led to the officer getting hurt. He was again arrested and arraigned on these charges, but once again he got off, making many wonder if he would actually get arrested in a way that would stick. And to be clear, these are just the crimes that we know about for sure. If I were a psychiatrist, which to be clear I'm not, but I do think like one at times, you almost would have to think that all these arrests were 6ix9ine either crying out for help or him testing his limits to see how far his power would go. Not a good thing to do either, and as a result of these things, he kept doing stuff for the 9 Treys because he felt his cred would go up working with him, and in a way it did, but it also revealed to him the harsh nature of the business he was in. Scared straight. As we make it to the modern day, we now look at the events behind the arrest that put him in the position he is now. Mainly, his various antics, songs, and shoutouts to the 9 Treys got him in the spotlight of the federal government, specifically the FBI, who started to work on building a case against 6ix9ine for some time. They worked hard to get the definitive evidence that they needed, and this all led to his arrest in November of 2018 on charges of conspiracy, racketeering, illegal possession, and more. What's more, he wasn't alone in that arrest. The FBI went and arrested many former crew members of 6ix9ine's for their association with a criminal enterprise they were doing. The severity of these charges and the fact that the FBI made the arrest themselves ensured that 6ix9ine wasn't going to get off on a fluke or cheap trick. Not only did he go to jail, but he remained incarcerated without bail, and his lawyers actually had to beg for his client to be put into a non-violent wing of the prison so that he wouldn't be, in 6ix9ine's own words, super violated. The judge did grant this request. But why does this matter? Because at this point in time, 6ix9ine's always gotten off. The only true jail time he spent was via something we didn't even mention on this list, up to November 2018 and its incident. He continued to get lucky and get off, but that didn't happen this time. He learned that sometimes you do get arrested and the arrest doesn't magically go away, that you need to pay the price for the offenses you have done, and sitting in a jail cell and fearing who might be coming after him may just have scared him so straight that he knew he had to accept a plea deal from the FBI. The snitching life of 6ix9ine.
Your names? Yes. What are those? Tekashi. Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Regardless of the reasons or the intent of his snitching, you have to wonder just what is next for 6ix9ine. His court case in regards to him testifying may be done for now, but his journey isn't over, not by a long shot. What's more, his sentencing in terms of the crimes he agreed to confess to for his plea deal is still coming up. Some think he may get off early because of the work he's done informing the FBI. Others think that he'll still have to spend time in jail because of the severity of the things he's done. And to those who think he will get out, they're not sure what he will do. Many think he'll try and get back into rap. Yet the community doesn't seem to want him back because of his snitching ways. He could still make music, but it won't be easy without the blessings of certain parties. There's also a chance he could totally step away from the music world and just try to go and do something else with his life, having learned his lesson and all of that. But will he? Has he truly changed after these events? No one but he can really answer that question, which is why many are so curious to see what he's going to do next. And there you have it, a look at the snitching of 6ix9ine and what it all means. Do you think that he deserves the snitch label that he has gotten? Do you think that there's a more logical reason for what he has done? What do you think will come of 6ix9ine next? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on King Trending.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.